What up, everybody? Welcome to our show, The Broke Nerds.
Yeah, today we're going to talk about the new He-Man show and basically our thoughts on it. So, how did you feel about when it first got announced?
Honestly, I was hyped because I was like,
Yeah,
He-Man's. It's not really something you'd expect to reboot or be brought back in today's age.
yeah,
You know, it's more superheroes, more. As cool as He-Man is, you don't think of him necessarily as a superhero. And so you kind of wonder, like, how he would be brought in with our new society and how people will react to a more older character, I guess you could say.
yeah. When you told me about him, I thought it would be like because it seemed random because it is like an old classic character. So I didn't really know what to feel about it. I thought that they were gonna like modernize it a lot, like the way that they did with. I didn't watch it, but the way that they brought back the Powerpuff Girls, like I think what I've heard about it,
or the new Cartoon Network show.
Cartoon Network, because didn't they like make the animation a lot like Adventure Time and stuff like that?
I think so. I
yeah,
might have watched one episode, or I just
like I didn't know what to think about it when I heard about it. So
I don't know. I had hope. A part of me had hope though, because like Voltron, they redid that for Netflix with DreamWorks, and that ended up being a pretty amazing reboot. So I had hopes that they'd be able to get this right, especially when I saw that Kevin Smith, Mark Hamill, these two superstars were going to be taking the helm of it. I was like, all right, these seem like two guys we can trust. They ought to know what they're doing.
Yeah, I heard that Mark Hamill and Kevin Conroy are in it. So, but I heard that like when I hear his voice, like I really just hear the Joker.
Yes.
And I haven't looked that deep into it, but I heard that when you hear Kevin Conroy, it sounds a lot like Batman.
Because just wanted to get the gang back together.
Yeah. But so as the hype for the show went on before it came out, do you like hear about any like the controversy?
Before the show came out?
Yeah.
Honestly, I was just I was keeping my nose down and just like, because I didn't want anything spoiled and I didn't want to know anything. Yeah. Because I feel like with so much stuff, like somebody ruined Chewbacca's death for me. And, well, not death for me in a certain movie.
The fake out?
Yeah. So after that, I just tried to stay clear of like as much as possible because I just didn't want to deal with spoilers.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to be able to watch it and enjoy it and just experience it for the first time without knowing or hearing anything in the background.
Yeah. So once you did watch it, you know, what did you think about it?
Wow.
So let's begin with the first episode. In that, what did you feel about He-Man being killed off?
I was just like, we waited since 2002 for this dude to be brought back, and you're gonna kill him one episode into his reboot. And so I was just like, all right. I mean, a part of me knew you have to bring He-Man back. There's no way you can just you bring back He-Man and Masters of the Universe, and then you just kill He-Man and he doesn't come back. You just can't do that. Yeah. So I was like, all right, this dude's gonna come back, but still, I was a little pissed. And I was just more like, all right, well, let's see what's gonna happen. And I was surprised because I haven't seen all the way through the original He-Man or the 2000 He-Man. I'm only about halfway through 2000, and I'm on second season, maybe halfway through of the original series. And the thing that surprised me was that He-Man's mom knew that he was He-Man all along in this one. And I don't think she knew that in the other ones. I could be wrong. But I also remember she would just kind of look after him and just like be safe at him. So now part of me wonders if maybe I haven't seen it yet and she knew, or it's just something kind of in the background that maybe like mother intuition. She knew all along throughout the show. But that was really kind of surprising to me, where she just turned to Randall and she's like, "Our son is dead." I was like, "Oh, all right." Did not expect that. And then I don't know. It's just a whole different from what I guess I had built up in my mind of what I was expecting from a return to He-Man.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at the one from 2002 and you look at the original, the very beginning intro is always Adam talking about being He-Man and etc.
Yeah.
This one, it wasn't that. You just had this narrator in the background, and I'm sorry, but I did not think it was that good of a narrator. I was just kind of sitting there like, maybe it was just because I was missing Adam.
Mm-hmm.
I needed Adam in that moment, and instead they just gave us a narrator. And it just kind of fell flat for me.
Yeah. What'd you think about some of the character changes?
I'm guessing you mean one specific character change, like Tila.
Yeah. Yeah, because I'm not too big, but I just saw the 80s He-Man, the 2000s, and I know how she looks in the new show, and they like completely changed her character. It's like it seems almost as if they could have just brought in someone new.
Yeah.
But they just completely changed her, not only physically, but also personality-wise.
Yeah. I mean, I get when you're gonna reboot, rechange everything.
Yeah.
You're gonna make differences and changes to characters. And I mean, like, one positive change is if you look at the original He-Man, it was Adam and He-Man, and they literally look exactly alike, kind of like a Clark Kent Superman thing.
Yeah.
It's just glasses and they look alike. You just give him freaking furry boxer shorts and he's He-Man, or else he's Adam.
Yeah.
And so, but then you look at the 2001 and then you actually see more of a difference. You see Adam versus He-Man, and they don't look exactly alike.
Yeah.
You can see a little bit of similar characteristics, but they aren't exactly like clones of each other.
Yeah.
And so I like when they do that in a positive way, and they do that in this one where Adam doesn't look exactly like He-Man.
Yeah.
You can see they look different.
See, that's something that I noticed, was that it looked like, because this is a continuation, it's not really a reboot, so they kept Adam looking the same, but then like Tila, she's just like, it feels like they wanted to make a reboot but forgot it was a continuation when designing her.
Like maybe a reboot just for her
Yeah.
versus everyone else kind of stayed the same. Because, I mean, Adam, he looks like Adam. He-Man looks like He-Man. Tila just, that's not Tila.
Yeah.
At least in our definition for what fans have grown up for many years with Tila, that is not their Tila.
Yeah.
I will say, though, like, you look at, like, the action figure for the original 80s one, and Tila's a little buffed out. And, I mean, in the original series, she's got some muscles going on. I think she's a little more not as muscly in the 2001. But in this one, she's just
Yeah.
jacked.
She's like hulked out.
She's hulked out. She looks like she should be She-Hulk, essentially. And that's not our Tila. And so I didn't like that. And I worry essentially what they're doing with this is they're saying that strong female characters have to look a certain way and they have to be jacked.
Yeah.
And I do not agree with that at all, because you can have so many strong women in all of our lives and they look nothing like how Hollywood wants to portray strong women as. I mean, just for examples, look at Scarlet Witch. She looks nothing like that.
Yeah.
Yet she is one of the most strongest characters in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And everything she's been through on like an emotional standpoint and all the pain, all the loss, her brother, Vision, she's literally probably the strongest woman in the MCU. She looks nothing like that.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I don't like how they just want to keep putting out this portrayal of a strong woman is supposed to be looking more masculine.
Yeah.
Because that's not it at all. Look at Rey from Star Wars. She doesn't look like that at all, and she freaking carries the series for 3 movies.
Yeah.
Granted, maybe not so great 3 movies,
Yeah.
but her being a strong female character for girls to look up to, for anyone to look up to, I guess. But she doesn't look how Hollywood wants to define a strong woman.
Yeah. Yeah, and like if you want to make a character like that, that's fine, but to change a character to look like that just to make her seem like tough or stronger, like that's not how you do that. There's like smarter ways to do that.
And I think also the biggest problem with it is we were told this is He-Man's Masters of the Universe. Like, a lot of what I've heard is like the story was going to be He-Man. It wasn't about Teela. It was about He-Man. And then when you watch this and you see the first 5 episodes and you're like, well, He-Man's here for like a second, but really this is Teela's story, then it's like, okay, then you should have promised us that this was maybe not your dad's He-Man, and in fact maybe it wasn't He-Man at all. Maybe it was going to be a spin-off involving Teela, which would have been fine. Okay, call it the Teela Chronicles or Teela Adventures. And then I feel like you have more right to do some changes and tweaks to the character doing it that way. But saying this is He-Man, you get it into the fans' minds of what their He-Man was, whether it was the 2000 ones, whether it was the original one. We don't talk about the Space Pirate one. I haven't even watched that one. I don't know if I'll ever watch that one, but we don't talk about that one. But they have this in their mind of the one that they grew up with as kids. And I honestly see like a lot of, I imagine dads wanting to show their kids these shows that they loved when they were growing up. But now they feel like they can't do that because this isn't their show that they watched when they were growing up. This is something entirely different coming out of left field. And they're just kind of like, well, I can't really talk about it, how I feel with you, because this isn't my He-Man. Teela wasn't necessarily that she was cool and she saved people and was awesome and stuff, but she wasn't the primary focus and primary hero that the majority of He-Man fans looked up to.
Yeah.
That was He-Man. And so I feel like it's really hard for the original fans to try talking about their family members and friends about this new show when it's not what they were looking forward or hoping at all.
Yeah.
And I feel like that really let a lot of fans down, which honestly sucks. Honestly, I hope that the next round of episodes, hopefully it gets better. Hopefully we get more He-Man. And I don't know. We'll just have to see. I think it's really all in. I don't know if they're done yet, or I'm gonna assume they're done by now. But
yeah,
I could be wrong.
I think from what I've heard, they were planning on doing a second season, but from what I hear from fans is that they don't even want a second season at this point.
I feel like you gotta give them that chance, because I mean, if you truly are a He-Man fan.
Well, I feel like
then your hope is that maybe it will get better. And then if it doesn't, then it'll go away. It's been gone since 2002, 2003.
Yeah.
And all right, it goes away again. I feel like to just completely shut it off, I feel like that would be maybe a bit too harsh, because then it just gets thrown in the closet and you don't see it again for another 10, 20 years. And if you're a He-Man fan, then you got to cling to that hope that it'll get better and you can enjoy that thing that you love so much, and that the creators, Mattel, Kevin Smith, whoever, they'll listen and make it better. And it doesn't do to He-Man what Last Jedi did to Star Wars. Like, Last Jedi and Rian Johnson messed up Star Wars so bad that it completely ruined Han Solo at the box office. No doubt. If it wasn't for how bad that movie did, and maybe if they would have waited a little bit longer to do Han Solo, I think that movie would have performed much better. Because now it's kind of having like a second revamp where people are finally giving it the chance they should have originally. They're like, hey, this movie actually wasn't that bad. And it's a heck of a lot better than Last Jedi.
Yeah, but that's the thing, though. Like, I feel like the first season was the chance to give them. And I feel like if they keep doing it, even if they do it towards the fans and listen to the fans, they'll be doing it to like try to make them happy. and not really understand what it is that people love about it. You know, like they won't be doing it from like a fan perspective, or like do it because they love He-Man. They'll be doing it just to like, oh, here's this character, or we change how this person is and this and that, and it might not be like it might not be good. It'll just be, I don't know.
I know,
because like that's what happened with the Michael Bay Ninja Turtles movie. Like a lot of people didn't like the first movie, so for the second one they brought in Bebop and Rocksteady, but it still wasn't good.
Yeah. I'll be honest, I totally forget about those.
I know. I forgot about them too, but I saw a video about it recently.
I don't know. I mean, the good thing was Star Wars tanked, and it looked like it couldn't be fixed for a while. And I mean, just as like you look at the collectibles at the times, prices were freaking dropping on all sorts of Star Wars collectibles. I mean, that's how bad of a movie, that's how bad Rian Johnson and Last Jedi affected the Star Wars universe. And so now it took a while, but Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni righted the ship, got it going back on track, and I feel like maybe that's something that could happen with He-Man. If maybe, I don't know if the second part of episodes is already done, or if they're still working on it, maybe scrap that and kind of rewrite it a little bit, or maybe just throw out what they have and then rewrite afterwards. But I don't want to close the door on the He-Man, because I know once it closes, it will be closed for a while. Just like G.I. Joe. G.I. Joe had to revamp, come back with Channing Tatum, and that movie... And I had the second one with The Rock, and that one didn't do much better. And then that series just kind of stayed quiet for a little bit, and then now we got a new Snake Eye movie coming out. So I mean, He-Man probably will come back, but there's going to be a couple years where nothing, and so my only hope is that this doesn't scare Mattel from committing to a good He-Man series, because I feel like that's something the fans will truly love and appreciate. And for Mattel, a toy company, you make a good show, you make good toys, you make a lot of good money with your toys and your show. They go hand in hand. Good show, good toys, make your money.
Papa John's.
Papa John's? What?
But
did they ever have toys?
No, that was just it's a meme. Anyway, but I feel like we're in an age, like an era, where corporations are really like feeding off of nostalgia. So I feel like the chances of He-Man coming back, even if it bombs, is still pretty good chance, because there's a lot of people that have a love for He-Man, and I'm sure that a younger generation is seeing what's going on now, and they'd probably be interested in seeing what it could have been if it was done right.
Yeah. I don't know, man. It's a letdown, and there's a lot of hurt right now for original He-Man fans. But I kind of wonder what it's like for maybe people who don't really know or care as much about He-Man. And if this is their first introduction to He-Man, maybe they're just like, oh, this is what He-Man always was, isn't it?
I feel like a lot of people now...
It could be taken off a little bit with newcomers.
Yeah, but I feel like with the internet now, it's really easy to look back at a series' legacy. And I think if they see all the backlash it's getting, they might be tempted to watch the 2000s show or the 80s show and
abandon ship from the new one.
Yeah, and like they could, if they like it, they could be fans of that. Like how, like I was born in '96. I didn't watch the '80s Ninja Turtles till I was like 7 years old.
Yeah.
Like it was like that wasn't my generation, but I liked it. Because I saw it. So yeah.
Good old Ninja Turtles.
Is there anything else about the show that you want to bring up?
I mean, one thing, like Kevin Smith said that his goal with this was kind of like to push boundaries. So one thing just straight off the bat in the first episode is deaths.
Mm-hmm.
Like in the originals, there was not death.
Yeah.
And like so much so like back then they were at the Comic Code Authority for comics back then, and they could only put certain things in comics. TV kind of had a thing similar where they were like, okay, this show seems kind of violent, so to counteract the violent, no deaths, and at the end of each episode you got to put like a positive message. And so that's why they'll be like, I believe G.I. Joe, they did the same thing where like what you learned from the message from it. There was no what you learned from the message in this show.
Yeah.
And death, I mean, just straight off the top of my head, 3 guys died in the first freaking episode. And then later on, more people died. And so it definitely took a different step above what the previous reincarnations of He-Man were. And I thought those were bold choices that weren't terrible. And another interesting thing was they included characters that really aren't that well known for the He-Man universe. There was characters from the action figure line that weren't in the shows at all, and they showed up in the show, and they're in the Eternian heaven, and they were pretty cool. And so I liked that he went a step further in that regard, and he brought in old characters and gave them life in the show.
Yeah.
But at the same time, as there's a couple positive steps, you got to look at just the negative steps of how far he took it with just taking a show that's He-Man and making it Teela.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think what else positivity-wise. I mean, I really liked the interaction between Orko and Evelyn, because I just feel like that's not really anything. That's not a relationship you would ever think of like working together. But the fact that they were able to kind of come together and like put aside differences, and I think when the time came, Evelyn was actually sad about Orko. I mean, I like that they have. And positives, not that many.
You want to talk about?
I can talk about a negative that I got friggin' ticked off about.
What?
So this random follower, best friend, accomplice, whatever she is, Andra, literally, I'm pretty sure, killed one of the biggest villains from the He-Man universe. And she doesn't have the right to do that, at least in my opinion. This dude has been there since the 80s into the 2000 series, and I'm pretty sure either she cut him in half or she decapitated him. But I'm like, I don't think she has the right to that kill and that honor. If anyone, it should have been Teela. Teela would have had the right to that, but they give a nobody that high of an honor kill, and they kill off that. Maybe he wasn't that important of a character, but he was a character who's been around forever.
Yeah, like a
just to go out like that? No, that ticked me off a lot. Poor Trap John. He deserved better.
You want to talk about You want to talk about Kevin Smith?
You want to start?
Well, based off of what I've heard, so I heard that Kevin Smith wasn't like really even a fan of He-Man, and so his goal towards this continuation was to make He-Man for like an older audience, which makes sense because a lot of the fans are older now.
Right.
But a lot of what he wanted to do, or a lot of what he did, was what's the word? That corporate progressiveness, where you force certain ideas onto a show, that can be done smart and can be done naturally, but when you just force it, it just has a bad feel to it, you know.
Yeah.
Like there's no character development. Like that, it's just that this character is just a different character now, and that's it. And then a lot of what he wanted to do, he wanted to add that, like how he kills a bunch of people.
Mm-hmm.
Like he wanted to add that like big effect. Like this isn't that kids cartoon anymore. Like anything can happen. Like you can't expect anything. And I thought that was cool too, but there's a lot of ways you could have done that better too. In ways that you could, like, you know, still show tribute to the show and still show like a love towards the fans and like build up to certain situations and not just have like things just like happening, and especially like so soon. But yeah.
I don't know. I mean, first off, I don't think all blame can be put on Kevin Smith, because I think this is basically kind of like the same thing that happened with Star Wars and Rian Johnson, Kathleen Kennedy, Lucasfilm. They were so hyped with the success of Force Awakens that they just kind of turned a blind eye and thought Star Wars could be successful no matter what.
Yeah.
And I feel like Mattel did the same thing with the idea of Kevin Smith is this huge, kind of almost larger than life guy that every nerd and person that loves nerdy stuff, they admire or respect or value for the most part. Not everyone, but for the most part, he's a pretty likable guy. And so I think they just thought this was a home run hiring him for this. And so they just maybe kind of backed off and just kind of let him run with it. And I feel like if you're a corporation, there needs to be more of a checks and balances in place where you're watching and you're actually making sure what's being done with your company's money and time and how this will affect everything. Because, I mean, as I said, toy company, good TV show, sells a lot of toys, makes a lot of money. This TV show bombs. All those toys are going to start sitting on the shelves, and next thing you know, they're going to start clearancing out. Just like all the toys did for Last Jedi. So many of those ended up in Walmart cheap bins. So many. But, so I feel like it was on Mattel. They needed to be more responsible and have a better system in place of like checks and balances to make sure things are going well. And I feel like they didn't have that, and they just kind of gave Kevin Smith maybe hands off, let him do whatever because he's Kevin Smith. And also, a part of me wonders if it's easy when you're so caught up in something to get lost and go too far. And so I'm sure that's kind of what happened with Kevin is he got super excited about this project. Maybe he didn't care about He-Man at first, but now that he has it, he's going to be working with Mark Hamill. He's going to be working with the Queen from Game of Thrones. I mean, he has a pretty good cast, and he's working with all of them. And he's going to put on this show for his fans, which are nerds. And I think he took it too far. And I also think it's easy for any of us to be put on such a grand scale to have something that meaningful put into our laps that we ourselves would take it too far in trying to do everything we can to hype it and make it better in our own minds. And I feel like he maybe just got lost in his own mind of just trying to hype it and take it too far. And so, I mean, yes, blame is on Kevin Smith and how this has turned out, but I just think don't hate on the guy and don't turn on him because we all make mistakes. We all get too caught up. I do think, though, that he needs to stop playing the victim and he needs to just be straightforward. You know what? Maybe I didn't do this right. Maybe I made a couple mistakes. I think he needs to come out and own up to it as a man, his mistakes, and instead of focusing on what he was hoping for, maybe focus now on what he can do to try to change and fix it and turn this around. Because right now he has Mattel, a big corporation, kind of sitting there, just like, okay, what's gonna happen? Because all these toys we just invested in, and they got a second. There's got a wave 2 already probably planned.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's in production, but it's already planned. Now they're just like, all right, do we put the stop on that? Because this may tank. We may lose a bunch of money. I think Mattel and Kevin Smith need to either get together and figure this out, or Kevin Smith needs to step down and let someone take over that take the reins and fix this. But I see a lot of hate on Kevin Smith, and I'm just like, I get it. He messed up, but he's just a dude, and I think maybe we could be a bit more forgiving as long as he's willing to step up and do what he needs to do as well.
I hear a lot that's what people want too, is for him to like man up to what the decisions he made, and also what he told people before this show came out, telling people that it was like a He-Man focused show, and that he like lied, and a lot of people just want him to own up to that. Even that, but yeah.
I know. I guess we'll see. For how much he has meant to like nerd and fandom community, I really hope that he takes the right steps in apologizing and just coming out to me like, I made my mistakes. Maybe I can work on trying to fix this and make this better for you guys. But I mean, also he's Kevin Smith. He has all the money. He just got green lighted to make his new movie.
Yeah, I heard about that.
I mean, in reality, he may not even care about this now that he has that going on. So
yeah, they might just, if they do even end up doing a season 2, if it doesn't just get canceled, I see them easily just putting someone else on it.
I know. It's a shame for something that had so much light and hope going for it. It's just to all of a sudden turn into just such dark and negativity, and which is honestly kind of ironic, because He-Man was a show where you had dark and you had evil, and they were always trying to fight and win, but in the end, light always won out. He-Man and the good guys, the Masters of the Universe, always won. But with this, I don't know if the good guys will win this time. It feels like the darkness, the negativity, the hate, the anger, it feels like it's just kind of spreading rampant, and it's just kind of a shame.
Yeah. All right. You want to end it with that?
Yeah. I think we've said all we have to say. Mattel, if you need help with fixing your He-Man, give us a call. We'll gladly help. But other than that, thanks for listening, guys, and hopefully we'll have another video with some fun stuff for you soon.
Yep. All right. See you guys.